Ah, 'tis the season. Holiday decorations are all over the place, cold weather is taking over, and winter is rapidly approaching, or already here depending on when this video goes public. Things are good right now. I love the holiday season. There's just something so special about this time of year. I love rolling through town and seeing all the lights and decorations everywhere. I love how holiday music takes over the radio and all of the coffee shops start slinging peppermint mochas. I'm a sucker for this time of year. Honestly, there's nothing that compares to turning on some holiday music, brewing up some hot cocoa, and setting up the Christmas tree and decorations with my wife and kids. It's a tradition that holds such a special place in my heart, and I look forward to it every year. This time of year is definitely one of my favorites. I was looking back at my videos from last year though, and I realized that I didn't make any holiday videos last year. Instead of a holiday video, I made a nice long video about Scooby-Doo, which was cool. It was a great video, and it's the starting point that got me into making long-form content. Before that one, my longest video was about half an hour long. I fully attribute my love for making 1 to 2 hour long videos to that specific Scooby-Doo video. Sure, it was only about 45 minutes long, but it made me realize how much I enjoy making these longer videos. So with that being said, that video holds a very special place in my heart, but it didn't quite scratch that itch of making a holiday video, if you know what I mean. I realized that it's been 2 years since my last holiday videos, which just feels wrong. Honestly, I just love that feeling of getting cozy on the couch next to a fully lit Christmas tree and watching my favorite cartoon Christmas specials. It's a tradition that I've had since I was a little kid, and I love the idea of imprinting that tradition in video format, and I think I found the perfect way to do that. The other day, I was cleaning up my living room, and I was talking to my wife about how I wanted to make another holiday video this year, and I was thinking about going online and seeing if I could find a DVD full of holiday specials, kind of like we did for that Halloween Spooktacular video. But then my amazing wife reminded me that we already have that same exact DVD that I'm thinking about on the shelf. I walked right up to our DVD shelf, and lo and behold, there it was. Nick Picks Holiday, featuring 7 Tales of Good Tidings. This DVD is from 2006, and it features not only some fantastic holiday specials, but also some Nicktoons that I haven't covered yet, and I definitely plan to dive into a little more in-depth in the future. But honestly, I forgot that I owned this DVD, and I'm so stoked that I have it. And that's why today, on our nostalgic walk down memory lane, we're gonna see what this amazing DVD has in store. First, I want to wish you and yours a happy holiday. Whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, or any other holiday, I hope that it's amazing. And hey, if you're part of the population that doesn't celebrate holidays, then I hope you had an amazing year and that you're enjoying yourself. If you're watching this right now, I want you to know that I'm really thankful for you, and I hope you have an amazing and prosperous 2023. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I hope that you enjoy it. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Now, just like we did last time, we're gonna start out with the previews because that might just be the best part of the whole DVD.
It's the Nick Picks collection! All the Nick episodes you want to see, available now on DVD. All your favorite characters in all their shapes, colors, and sizes. And all of your favorite adventures packed full of surprises.
Nothing says, I want you at my party like a big footprint.
Just to name a few, here's a sampling of what you'll view. SpongeBob SquarePants in Fear of a Krabby Patty. The Fairly OddParents Information Superhighway.
I wish I was inside the internet!
And for the first time ever on DVD, it's the brand new release of these favorite 3. Danny Phantom.
How did you get back in your ectoskeleton?
My Life as a Teenage Robot.
I never have to worry about breaking out.
And Cat Scratch.
The party awaits!
Plus so much more! It's Nick Picks Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Available now on DVD. And be on the lookout for more Nick Picks DVDs to add to your collection. Coming soon!
Cool!
Okay, so I gotta say, these Nick Picks DVDs are actually really awesome. The Halloween one that we reviewed in October was just fantastic. I'm pretty sure that I have Nick Picks Volume 3 on DVD as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'd have to double check. But if I do, I might just have to review that too. This preview brought up 3, at the time, new shows: Danny Phantom, My Life as a Teenage Robot, and Cat Scratch. Now, we've talked about Cat Scratch briefly in the past, but we still haven't covered Danny Phantom or My Life as a Teenage Robot on my channel yet, but trust me, I want to cover them both in detail in the near future. However, spoiler alert, we might be checking those shows out a little bit sooner than you'd think. All in all though, that preview was pretty good, on point for what I'd expect from 2006. 2006 Nickelodeon, and let's just keep on going.
It's here, it's yellow, and it's expanding. It's the ever-increasing SpongeBob SquarePants DVD collection.
I love this show!
Over 20 DVDs make up this collectible, hysterical, and most havable collection.
I gotta have more!
And at the helm of hilarity, there's SpongeBob Seasons 1, 2, and 3 box sets, each with 3 discs and packed with special features. So why start small when you can collect them all? Because once you own yellow, you want all of that fellow. The Sponge-tacular collection includes Sponge Buddies, Nautical Nonsense, SpongeBob Halloween Sea Stories, Tales from the Deep, Lost at Sea, Hide and Seek, SpongeBob Christmas, SpongeBob Season 1 DVD box set, The Seascape Capers, Home Sweet Pineapple, SpongeBob Goes Prehistoric, Sponge Guard on Duty, SpongeBob Season 2 DVD box set, Sponge for Hire, Fear of a Krabby Patty, SpongeBob Season 3 DVD box set, Absorbing Favorites, Where's Gary, Lost in Time. It's the complete SpongeBob SquarePants collection, available now on DVD, and be on the lookout for more Sponge-tacular SpongeBob DVDs coming soon.
Okay, so this trips me out a bit. The last Nick Picks DVD we covered had a preview for SpongeBob DVDs as well. Just for context though, that last one, Nick Picks Halloween, was released in 2003 and was actually the first of the Nick Picks DVDs to be released. This one we're watching now didn't come out until 2006. In this preview, we see like 20 different SpongeBob DVDs available. For comparison, the Nick Picks Halloween DVD advertised 2 SpongeBob DVDs that were out and available for purchase, with 4 more advertised to come later out that year, which is just mind-blowing for me. Between 2003 and 2006, SpongeBob blew up massively. It literally asserted its dominance as a Nicktoon and took over Nickelodeon. It took the whole network in a completely different direction from where it was before it premiered, and this preview is a testament to that. Rightfully so though, SpongeBob is an amazing cartoon. I actually own that same exact Season 2 DVD box set, and not the modern version that you find on the shelves. I have the original version from the initial 2004 release. Overall though, this preview was pretty great. Let's move on.
There comes a time in every journey when you realize there's no turning back.
For the Avatar.
Avatar, the complete book 1, volumes 1 through 5 are available for you to own on DVD. 12-year-old Aang, the last airbender, must journey to the North Pole, battle the fire armies, and unite the 4 nations. His mission? To save the world.
That's why I'm so excited.
Join Aang, Sokka, Katara, and of course Momo on their epic quest. Each DVD is loaded with special features, including behind-the-scenes extras, interviews with the creators, bending profiles, and more. Volumes 1 and 2 come with exclusive limited edition Upper Deck trading cards. Avatar: The Last Airbender, you can collect the entire series on DVD. And be on the lookout for Avatar Book 2 DVDs coming soon.
I'm going home to where stuff makes sense.
Dude, okay, so Avatar: The Last Airbender was way too good of a show. There was so much depth and layers to the story of this show and the characters. I haven't watched it in years, and honestly, I would love to rewatch it from start to finish. There was so many redeeming qualities to this show, and I love damn near everything about it. It had the perfect amount of silly moments, while being wrapped in drama and a serious plot. 10 out of 10 show, and I definitely want to make a video about it in the near future. I gotta point out though, this preview said some of the DVDs would come with trading cards, and I'm curious, did any of my viewers actually own any of these cards? Let me know down in the comments if you owned them or still do. I'm genuinely curious. Honestly, that preview was great, and it reminded me of how much I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm definitely gonna dive back into that show sometime soon, but for now, let's move on.
Once upon a time, the Rugrats met a giant fairy tale.
Not just beans, magic beans.
And a new classic is about to begin. It's Nickelodeon's Rugrats movie DVD premiere, Tales from the Crib. 3 Jacks and a Beanstalk, premiering on DVD September 5th.
I wonder who lives there.
The giant is nasty. The giant's not nice. The giant will eat you without thinking twice.
Now come here, you dumb baby, so I can eat you.
See the classic fairy tale.
Fee, fi, fo, finkle. All that milk makes me have to go tinkle.
Rugrat style.
Who did that?
Join Nickelodeon's one-of-a-kind adventure, Rugrats Tales from the Crib, 3 Jacks and a Beanstalk, premiering on DVD September 5th.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
And look for another Nick classic, Rugrats Tales from the Crib, Snow White, available on DVD now.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a hater-ass bitch for a moment here and dump all over this preview. It didn't necessarily look bad per se, but I'm just not the biggest fan of the later on Rugrats. This show went from having full-blown made-for-theater movies to straight DVD movie releases. Like, this movie didn't even premiere on the actual Nickelodeon network, it just went straight to home release. I feel like that speaks volumes for the quality of the later Rugrats seasons. Like, once upon a time, Rugrats was a staple for Nicktoons. In the 90s, Rugrats was basically the crown jewel of Nicktoons. Then, right about the time SpongeBob came out, it started losing its luster. I don't know, I don't want to hate too hard because, again, it didn't look all that bad, honestly. It just wasn't what the show used to be. I'm not sure if I ever saw this movie, but I do own that Snow White one that they were advertising at the end there. My kids have watched it a few times and enjoyed it, but honestly, the later Rugrats just isn't really my cup of tea per se. This preview was okay, I guess, but let's move on.
This game has not yet been rated. Plankton's rampage seems completely unstoppable. Our only hope is a flying sponge.
Not so fast, you miserable creature! It's a living nightmare!
Can SpongeBob escape Plankton's evil clutches? Will this menacing monster ever be stopped? The fate of Bikini Bottom is in your hands! SpongeBob SquarePants, creature from the Krusty Krab, rampaging your way, October 2006.
Okay, what the heck? I grew up being obsessed with SpongeBob and obsessed with video games, but I had no idea that this game even existed. Like, I played the hell out of Battle for Bikini Bottom and Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, which is without a doubt the best SpongeBob game, but I've literally never heard of this game. It honestly didn't look that great, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. The more I look back at this DVD, the more I reflect on where I was in my life in 2006. I was in 6th grade, and honestly, I'm pretty sure I stopped watching cartoons for the most part around this time. All I wanted to do was watch wrestling, skate, and hang out with my friends. Which explains why I probably don't remember this game at all. Also, considering the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of anything past Season 3 of SpongeBob, I just wasn't the target demographic for this game, and that just is what it is. The trailer looked meh, not gonna lie. But that's gonna be it for the trailers on this DVD. Jumping right into the episodes, we're starting out with All Grown Up.
All grown up, I really wanna shout it out. All grown up, I want the world to know. All grown up, I really wanna shout it out. All grown up with you. All grown up with you.
Okay, honestly, I will admit, I watched this show for a while. It ran from 2004 to 2008, and I probably watched it up to like 2005 or so. It was okay for what it's worth. It's trash compared to the original Rugrats, but at the time, it was able to keep my attention and wasn't all that bad. Let's see how it holds up now. The episode we're looking at is called The Finster Who Stole Christmas, and it starts with school getting out, presumably for Christmas break.
This is what I'm saying. Christmas snagged all the righteous tunes. You got your Silent Night, your White Christmas, your Jingle Bells Batman smells. What's Hanukkah got? The dreidel song? Yeah, that song makes no sense. Why would anyone make a dreidel out of clay when the plastic ones are basically free?
Phil talks about how his and Lil's mom has been cooking holiday food since September in anticipation. Susie talks about how all of her family gets together for Christmas, and Chucky just kinda sits out of the conversation and has a sad demeanor about him. Susie tells the gang all about how she landed the solo in her church's holiday performance.
That would be the perfect venue to premiere our soon-to-be classic Hanukkah song.
What Hanukkah song?
The one the soon-to-be famous Pickles brothers are gonna pen.
You know, that's not such a bad idea.
It's genius! I mean, how hard can it be to make up a song? I do it in the shower every morning. And guys, I sound good.
Susie asks Chucky what his family had planned for the holidays, and he tells her it's the usual high expectations and soul-crushing disappointment. We cut over to Tommy's house, where him and Chucky are hanging out.
It's amazing. 20 years of Finster Christmases on one convenient DVD, and each one more depressing than the next.
Oh, come on, lighten up. Your dad's gonna love this gift. When's your mom getting back from Japan with Kimmy?
Christmas Eve, my uncle's recovering nicely from the bad sushi incident.
Chucky talks about how his dad always knocks it out of the park for every holiday, but for some reason he always goes light and has a lame Christmas. Tommy and Chucky realize that every tree that Chucky's dad has ever gotten has been bare and brown. Chucky says that that must be why their Christmases are so bad every year. He vows to help his dad pick up a tree that's infested with the holiday spirit this year.
Here she is, top of the line. Needles as soft as a cat's back. And just take a whiff.
Wow! It's like having the Rockies in your own home. You got anything less majestic?
You've got some nice 5-footers.
Chucky's dad explains that Christmas isn't about the bells and whistles as he breaks out his Christmas motto, Christmas starts with family and ends with family. We see Chaz come upon the kind of tree that he's looking for.
How about those?
You mean Death Valley?
Oh, how much is that beauty?
$20. 15.
We'll come back for it tomorrow. It'll be down to 10. Thank you. Oh.
Later on, we see Chucky walking down the street, kicking a pine cone sadly past a bunch of Christmas decorations. He ends up coming upon a house that has their trash cans out to be picked up, and they have a freshly cut Christmas tree leaning against the trash cans, making Chucky assume that they're just throwing it out, so he takes the tree, deciding that he's going to put it to good use. Chucky carries the tree home, and this happens.
Don't open them! Don't open! Don't open! Okay, now, open!
Wow! It's beautiful, Chucky. Where'd you get it? It must have cost you a fortune.
Not really. They were practically giving them away. So what do you think?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. It doesn't quite seem like a Finster tree.
Chucky explains that he just wants to have a merry little Christmas this year, and his dad basically forces a weak smile while he thanks Chucky. Meanwhile, over at the Java Lava, we see Tommy and Dill working on their Hanukkah song while Phil and Lil's mom brings out some holiday drink samples for everyone. She explains what all the bizarre flavors are, and everyone decides to pass, except for Chucky.
Chucky, wow! Since when are you the brave one?
What can I say? I'm full of Christmas spirit this year. Yeehaw!
Speaking of brave, did you guys hear about that Christmas tree that was stolen the other night? Where? Right in front of the house on Greenfield.
Stolen?
Yep, the Halickies. Well, I guess that's one family that won't be having a Merry Christmas this year.
What kind of person steals the symbol of love and human understanding? Sicko.
Betty says that they should double up on neighborhood watch to flush the thief out of town like the vermin that he is. Meanwhile, Chucky sprints to the bathroom to show up. We cut to later on while Chucky and Tommy are outside. Chucky told Tommy the truth that he accidentally stole the Christmas tree, and he starts panicking, saying that he doesn't want to be driven out of town. Tommy calms him down, saying that it's not stealing if he thought they were giving it away. Tommy gives Chucky the idea to return the tree, which makes him feel better, so the two head on out to Chucky's house.
Look it, he hasn't even decorated it yet, Tommy. This'll be a snap. Dad? I need to tell you something.
Oh, sure. Just let me put these ornaments down.
You bought new Christmas tree ornaments?
16 boxes?
Well, I started putting the old ones at Old Faithful here. I can't believe no one told me how shoddy they looked.
But, Dad, you said the holidays begin and end with family.
Oops, I smell gingerbread.
Chucky's dad explains that he baked an entire gingerbread town. Meanwhile, Betty starts pulling out all the amazing decorations that Chaz spent hours preparing. Chucky is just torn, considering that his dad is actually in the Christmas spirit for the first time in 2 decades, so he ends up not telling his dad the truth about the tree. Instead, he tells his dad that he wishes Kimmy and Kira were there to see this, which ends up being the perfect transition for us to check on Kimmy and Kira, who are at the airport in Japan. Unfortunately, they had ended up getting bumped off of their flight because their plane was completely booked and they accidentally missed their initial flight, leaving them stuck in Japan until a flight becomes available. We cut back over to Chucky and Tommy.
How am I going to live with myself knowing another family's going treeless all because I wanted to have visions of sugar plums dancing in my head? It's a metaphor. I know. Why don't I just buy the Halickies another tree?
But you said those trees were megabucks.
Not when you've been trained in the Finster School of Christmas tree shopping. Trust me, I'll have that lumberjack man begging me to take one of his trees off his hands.
Unfortunately, Chucky goes to the same tree stand that he went to yesterday and they're completely sold out. The one single tree that they have is $50, and it's from the graveyard of dead trees. Chucky ends up using almost all the money that he saved to buy the tree, and him and Tommy walk off carrying it to the Hillicky's house. On the way, he stops to scratch his nose, and he accidentally drops the tree into the road. Before they can save the tree, someone drives by and runs it over, completely destroying it. Feeling defeated, Chucky and Tommy go to the Java Lava, where we see all of their friends hanging out. Lil notices that Chucky's feeling down, and she asks him what's wrong.
Oh, who wouldn't be disappointed this year? You got some punk going around stealing Christmas trees. That's why I'm putting in this here high-tech surveillance camera.
I wouldn't worry about those thieves. They'll get what's coming to them one way or another.
What does that mean?
You can't steal the meaning of Christmas without the big guy upstairs not hearing about it. Whoever took the Hillicky's tree is in for a wicked smiting.
Smiting? You know.
Hey, Chucky, smile. You're on criminal camera.
Back at Chucky's house, we see his dad caroling with a group of people. Chucky walks in, and his dad tells him that they're rehearsing for the party. He explains that from now on, the name Finster is going to be synonymous with Christmas fun. He invites Chucky to sing along with them, but Chucky says that he's just going to go to bed. We see him in bed having an awful nightmare. In his nightmare, he's outside of the Hillicky family house, where he sees the mom crying with the kids who are sad because they don't get to have Christmas. Chucky runs off and into the woods, where he finds a Christmas tree.
Chucky!
Yes?
It's me!
Me who?
Who do you think? Who's the burning bush guy?
I'm gonna be smited. I'm gonna be wicked smited.
The next day, we cut to Kimmy and Kira, who are still stranded, but this time in Hawaii, and the icing on the cake, their luggage is lost as well.
You found our luggage?
No, but I'm authorized to give you this itty-bitty bag of macadamia nuts.
I'd rather you tell us where our luggage is.
They are salty and delicious.
Where's our luggage?
Kimmy, let's stay positive. I'm sure he's doing everything he can.
They are very good with chocolate, these nuts.
Meanwhile, Chucky and his friends are at the mall. All of the kids are having a perfectly normal conversation, while Chucky's just standing in the middle of the mall and talking shit to a Christmas tree. Chucky ends up walking up to the guy who's playing Santa and talking shit to him too. Chucky ends up causing a scene and stealing a candy cane.
What's wrong, Chucky?
I never seen you like this. He's kind of attractive.
I'm the sicko who stole the tree!
It was an accident, guys. He thought they were turfing it.
I made one little mistake, and now the whole town is after me. The man upstairs wants to zap me. I even have elves on my case. You know you're in trouble when the elves are after you.
Chucky ends up walking off, just completely inconsolable. We cut over to the Finster's Christmas party, where everyone is having great fun, except for Chucky, who's just miserable. He feels bad that he finally got the Christmas that he wanted, but he isn't able to enjoy it. Tommy, feeling bad for Chucky, decides to suggest that they unsteal the tree, aka break into Chucky's house and steal the tree and give it to the Hillicky family. We see them all in burglar outfits while they finesse their way into the house through a window and take the tree, pulling it through the same window instead of just simply going through the door. Meanwhile, we see Kira and Kimmy, who are this time stranded in Mexico. Kimmy says that she's proud of Kira for keeping her cool through all of the strife, and then, of course, this happens.
I've been through 3 states and 2 continents. I've been patient through 4 time zones. This cab is mine. Mine. It's mine.
Meanwhile, Chucky and his friends deliver the Christmas tree to the Hillickys and ding-dong ditch their house, leaving them to find the tree on their own. The next morning, Chucky and his dad are in the living room mourning the loss of their tree. Chaz is confused as to why the robbers would take the tree and not the presents, but doesn't really question it further than that. Chaz's Christmas spirit is officially ruined, but as he's talking to Chucky, this happens.
Christmas is officially ruined. Where'd all these pine needles come from?
Okay, I did it! I stole the tree twice, maybe 3 times. The way Tommy said it, I'm still confused.
Just tell me what happened, son.
I just wanted a big Christmas like everyone else has. Now we have nothing.
At that exact moment, like fate, Kimmy and Kira come through the door, proving Chaz's initial point. Christmas starts with family and ends with family. Kira even brings them a Christmas bonsai tree, knowing that Chaz usually picks the worst Christmas trees. We cut over to Susie's church where she's singing her solo. She finishes and introduces Tommy and Dill to sing their song.
They're frying in the kitchen, they're burning in the pot. Like us all around us, get 'em while they're hot. Like us all around, in my ears and in my eyes. Like us all around, in my nose and on my thighs.
The episode ends on that note. This one is an episode that I remember seeing when I was younger. Honestly, it just kind of stressed me out as a kid. I remember Chucky having a really bad habit of getting himself into bad situations and just making them worse in this show. That was kind of a recurring theme with his character. This episode wasn't necessarily bad though. The plot was entertaining and it all wrapped up relatively well. I mean, we never learned if there was consequences for Chucky's actions or anything like that, but hey, they wrapped it up quickly in a way that at least was acceptable. I gotta say though, they missed a big opportunity to touch on why Chucky's dad never goes all out on Christmas. Honestly, in the beginning, when Tommy and Chucky were watching that DVD of Finster Christmases and they showed Chucky's mom for a split second, I truly thought that she was gonna have something to do with why Chaz doesn't like Christmas. Like, it'd be totally understandable if Christmas was Chucky's biological mother's favorite holiday, and due to the trauma that came with her passing away, Chaz just gets depressed every year near Christmas time. Honestly, it would have added an extra layer of drama and probably stress regarding Chucky telling the truth. Like, imagine Chaz finally finding the Christmas spirit for the first time since Chucky's mother passed away, but Chucky ruins it due to the fact that their Christmas tree was stolen. I see why they didn't do that, but I truly feel like it was a missed opportunity. It would have been a good chance to tug at the heartstrings of the viewers. Moving on from there though, I gotta bring up Kira and Kimmy. It's clear that they went through absolute hell just being stranded in the days leading up to Christmas. Kira, who always seems to keep her cool, ended up being completely flustered by the end of it all. So much so that she literally Grand Theft Auto style cabjacked someone. Like, she straight up grabbed this guy and threw him out of the cab. It was definitely out of character, but badass, that's for sure. I also got a nice giggle out of the scene where they're in Hawaii and the airport guy is offering them a single packet of macadamia nuts, and he says this.
They are very good with chocolate, these nuts! These nuts!
This was just too perfect for me not to bring up. All in all, I appreciate this episode. As far as All Grown Up goes, this episode wasn't that bad at all. It definitely had plenty of holiday cheer and a good moral to the story. It was able to keep my attention and had me engaged throughout the whole episode. Overall, I'd have to give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I don't want to go too hard on it, but it wasn't perfect by any means. Next up, we are going to check out an episode that I covered in a video 2 years ago. That's going to be the SpongeBob SquarePants Christmas Special. I'm so excited to dive back into this episode because I feel like I've definitely stepped up my game a bit since the last time I talked about this episode. Also considering that I have a lot bigger of an audience on YouTube than I did 2 years ago, most of you probably didn't even see that video. This episode starts out in Encino, California with America's favorite pirate and president of the SpongeBob SquarePants fan club, Patchy the Pirate. We see Patchy wrapping presents and preparing for the holiday season when he accidentally gives himself a black eye.
Why, I'll bet old SpongeBob is gearing up for Santa Claus right now!
I sure am. I'm ready.
Not bad for a creature with no vertebrae. And I'm sure our pal Patrick is doing his share of the decorating.
Patchy proceeds to prepare some cookie dough when we hear the sound of 3 bells chiming, which apparently means that it's time to read some fan mail.
Oh, thank you, Potty. Yeah, okay, Potty, thank you. Come on, give it your bird brain. Quiet, infernal bird. This letter comes to us from...
Name and address withheld.
The letter comes from a young fan who asks Patchy if SpongeBob enjoys Christmas just as much as he does.
A very good question. But you know, they didn't always celebrate Christmas in Bikini Bottom.
They didn't?
Oh, sir, my fine feathered little neck pain.
Patchy explains that there was once a time when no one in Bikini Bottom even knew what Christmas was, which leads to him telling the story of the first ever Christmas in Bikini Bottom as we transition into the actual episode itself.
Yay on me cookie dough!
Squelch!
Oh well, on with the show!
It starts out with SpongeBob outside of Sandy's house at sunset, saying that he's gonna get her with a super sneaky karate move. He approaches her house, and this happens.
What diabolical act is she committing now? Fire! Don't worry, Sandy! I'm coming! Stand back, Sandy! Fire! Huh? So I guess there's no fire?
What in the name of the Alamo is wrong with you, SpongeBob?
Sandy asks SpongeBob if he's ever even heard of a Christmas tree, and she's completely shocked to learn that SpongeBob doesn't even know what Christmas is.
I can't believe y'all haven't heard about Christmas.
Tell me more about this Christmas!
And so Sandy wove a magical tale of gumdrops and penny whistles. She told of toy-making elves and flying reindeer. But best of all, she told of the one they call Santa Claus.
We cut on over to the Krusty Krab, where SpongeBob is telling Squidward, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs all about Christmas traditions and Santa Claus. Naturally, Squidward isn't having any of it, but Mr. Krabs is just ecstatic about the idea of Santa giving away free stuff.
That's the spirit, Mr. Krabs. Here you go. You can get started on your letter.
I can't believe anybody would celebrate a holiday where a jolly prowler breaks into your house and leaves gifts.
Like a genie.
Pipe down, Squidward. I'm trying to concentrate. This thing's as good as a blank check, direct from the First National Bank of Santa Claus.
Patrick excitedly starts to attempt to write his Christmas list, while Squidward refuses to partake in such foolishness. Patrick struggles to write his Christmas list as he keeps destroying the paper, so SpongeBob shows him how it's done.
Dear Santa... Oh, not again!
Here, Patrick, watch me. Dear Santa, what do I want for Christmas, you may ask? All I want is for you to visit the gentle folk here in Bikini Bottom. That is my wish.
We then see SpongeBob with Patrick as he's testing out an invention that will shoot the bottles full of Christmas lists up to the surface. The device works flawlessly, and people start lining up to shoot their Christmas lists up to the world above. Mr. Krabs wishes for a pony with saddlebags full of money, while Patrick wishes for a new piece of paper, and the other side characters from Bikini Bottom wish for all sorts of random things. We see everyone standing around when Squidward comes through the crowd.
Great, Squidward, you finished. What's your wish?
My wish is that the people of Bikini Bottom will stop paying any attention to the inane dribble that is constantly streaming out of this dunderhead's mouth.
Gee, Squidward, maybe Santa will bring me a dictionary so I can understand what you just said.
SpongeBob tells everyone that they have a lot to do to prepare now that they've summoned Santa Claus. We then cut right into a montage of everyone preparing for Christmas with a very catchy Christmas tune.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me. There'll be shopping, decorating, and plenty of snow. Hey, Patrick, who's that under the mistletoe?
What? Who, me? Would you look at the time I should go?
I gotta stop real quick to say I just love this song. It gets stuck in my head all the time, even when it's not anywhere near the holiday season. Honestly, I just can't really get enough of it.
Tonight things are as good as they seem to be. A star on top will complete all the scenery.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me.
After they finish and the last letter has been sent, SpongeBob realizes that Squidward never sent his letter, so he rushes right to Squidward's house to help him. SpongeBob is honestly very sweet about it. He tells Squidward that he doesn't want him to be the only one without a gift when Santa arrives. Squidward pushes him out of his house, insisting that he doesn't believe in Santa Claus.
Squidward, come on!
party! Woo, Christmas! Come on out!
Santa Claus is a big phony. SpongeBob has got you all fooled.
Come on, Squidward. Come on, drop the whole anti-Christmas thing.
Those idiots are gonna be up all night while I get a full night's sleep.
Oh, Santa's coming tonight. Santa's coming tonight.
The entire town stays up all night singing while they wait for Santa to arrive. We cut to the next morning when everyone is still singing, just exhausted. Everyone gets angry when they realize that it's morning and Santa never came. They all scold SpongeBob for getting their hopes up and everyone leaves. SpongeBob and Patrick stay behind, still holding on to hope, but after a while, Patrick takes off too, leaving SpongeBob standing alone and sad by the tree. Squidward's alarm clock goes off and we see him come out of his house to greet SpongeBob.
Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Wait! Oh, I see a great Christmas photo. Say Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Aw, our first Christmas. This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas. The first Christmas is this Christmas, 'cause it feels like the first Christmas.
Squidward gloats to SpongeBob, just rubbing it in his face until SpongeBob starts crying his eyes out and saying that Squidward was right.
I still want you to have this.
What's this?
A present. I made it for you so you wouldn't feel left out when Santa came.
Oh, gee, I
You're welcome.
As SpongeBob walks away, Squidward decides to open the present, expecting a jellyfishing net or a pair of SpongeBob's favorite underwear, but he's shocked when he sees what SpongeBob got him.
It looks like a clarinet. It smells like one, too. Handcrafted out of driftwood. And it's even got my name on it. This is the greatest gift I have ever gotten. Oh, I feel like a big jerk.
We see SpongeBob sadly taking down all the Christmas decorations and having a massive rain cloud appear over him while Squidward feels like a massive jerk. SpongeBob then goes to take the decorations off of Squidward's house when this happens.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hello? Yes? Who's there? Huh? Hello? Show yourself. Ooh, hello? Who is it?
Up here, you dunce! I mean, Merry Christmas, little boy.
Could it be?
Yes, it is I, Santa Claus. Ho, ho, ho! Hoo, hey, ha,
Hey, you're...
SpongeBob faints at the realization that Santa is here. Squidward wakes him up and SpongeBob starts to question him. He points out Santa's lack of big round belly, lack of reindeer and sleigh, and his gigantic nose, but Squidward gives answers to all of SpongeBob's points and dismisses them.
Santa! This is the greatest gift you could have given me. Thank you for bringing Christmas to Bikini Bottom.
I didn't bring Christmas to Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob. You did.
I did?
After Gary carries SpongeBob to his house, a little girl shows up asking if Santa has a present for her. Squidward starts to talk his way out of it, but just then, SpongeBob shows back up, reassuring her that Santa won't let her down. Squidward runs right into his house and starts going through all of his stuff, trying to find something to give the little girl.
What do little girls like? A book of matches? Or a shaving kit? A copy of my birth certificate? There's got to be something around here. Think, think, think. Ah, perfect. Here you go, little girl. Ho, ho, ho.
Thanks, Santa.
That almost felt good.
Everyone expects presents from Santa. Squidward goes into his house, grabbing random things to give everyone until Squidward's house is literally empty and everyone is pleased.
What was I thinking? I gave away all my stuff just so SpongeBob wouldn't be sad. Am I insane? You might as well take the door. That's all that's left.
Squidward, you missed him. He was here, just like I said. He gave us all presents. He was jolly and he had a beard. His nose was big and he had rosy cheeks. He was friendly and kind and Santa-ish. Oh, his belly was small, but his nose was huge with Christmas joy.
Squidward looks down and finds a message in a bottle. He opens it to find a letter from Santa telling Squidward that he's been a real good boy this year and thanking him for what he did.
Merry Christmas!
Yep, I'm insane.
We then cut back over to Patchy the Pirate as he's playing with some SpongeBob figures that he made. He takes off his hat to find some presents left from his parrot Potty.
Hi-yo, mistletoe! And you know what that means? Time for somebody to kiss Patchy the Pirate! Come on, who's it gonna be? Come on, kiss the captain! No, not you! Not you, Potty! No, get out of here! No, Potty, I don't want to kiss you! No, we've talked about this! Potty, no!
This episode is just fantastic. It's one of my personal all-time favorite Christmas specials. I used to watch this damn near every single night leading up to Christmas when I was a kid. I have fond memories of falling asleep on the ground next to the Christmas tree while watching this on TV when I was little because I had it on DVD and would just put it on repeat. There's so much to love here. It's overall a great episode with some clever comedy. I loved the gag when Squidward was being a jerk and they put the donkey on the screen over him. It was truly fitting considering how much of an ass Squidward was being, honestly. One thing that confuses me though is the fact that Squidward literally has no reason to not believe in Santa other than the fact that he's a contrarian and likes to go against the grain. He can't even live a little and believe in a lighthearted concept like Santa Claus. He just has to dismiss it like a massive party pooper. Honestly, I'm not surprised that he behaved the way he did, but still, he really had no reason to. However, I will admit that Squidward did redeem himself rather well in the end. He remedied the situation by giving away all of his personal belongings just to make SpongeBob and the rest of the town happy, but only after making a massive ass of himself. But ultimately, he went above and beyond in doing the right thing, and how could he not? Did you see that clarinet that SpongeBob made for him? It was hand carved from driftwood and even had Squidward's name engraved into it. It was truly a work of art and it sounded great too. I can't help but wonder one thing though. At the end of the episode, we see Santa flying over Bikini Bottom, telling Squidward that he did a good thing, but I can't help but wonder, like, what would have happened if everyone had just gone to sleep? Like, per traditional Christmas lore, Santa only comes when everyone's sleeping, but everyone stayed awake all night long waiting for Santa to get there. So like, I wonder if things would have played out differently if everyone had just gone to bed. Santa was able to fly by underwater on his sled, so what would have stopped him from visiting the fine folk of Bikini Bottom and bringing them Christmas presents? Also, what about Sandy? Like, she told SpongeBob all about Santa and Christmas, but like, did she get any presents? We don't see her at all in this episode after she finishes telling SpongeBob about Christmas. I can't help but think that things would have played out a little bit different if SpongeBob would have came to Sandy after Santa never showed up, considering that she's the one that told him all about Santa in the first place. I don't know, but regardless of any of that, this episode is just phenomenal, and it's an all-time favorite of mine. I will always love this episode, and it gets a confident and strong 10 out of 10. Next up on this DVD is yet another episode that I've already covered in the past, but again, it's been 2 years and I'm totally okay with jumping right back into this episode again, considering I haven't seen it in such a long time. Of course, I'm talking about none other than the Fairly OddParents Christmas special, Christmas Every Day. This episode starts out with everyone in Dimsdale preparing for Christmas as we see a group of people surrounding the TVs in a window of a shop.
Yes, with the partridge and pear tree shortage over, it's Christmas time again. Good evening, Dimsdale. It's Christmas, and I'm Chet You Betcha. Yes, Christmas. Better than Easter, more loving than Valentine's Day, and nowhere near as useless as Arbor Day.
We then cut over to Timmy watching the same exact news broadcast as he stands atop a massive pile of presents that he's in the middle of wrapping. Cosmo and Wanda ask him what's wrong as we see Vicky walk in and drop a load of fruit cakes on top of Timmy, expecting him to wrap them.
Come on, sport, cheer up!
I can't, Wanda. Every Christmas Eve, I'm stuck doing whatever Vicky tells me to do.
I know! Remember last Christmas when she sold you and your friends as ice sculptures?
Ooh, I'll take the Chester and AJ ice sculptures. Timmy will love these.
So cold. I'm free! So cold.
Timmy says that every Christmas Eve, his parents are out shopping while he's stuck at home with Vicky, just miserable. Vicky enters in with another load of fruitcakes, and Timmy asks who they're for, to which Vicky says nobody, she just likes making him work, as she throws the wrapped fruitcakes into the fire.
Merry Christmas, Timmy.
We're ho-ho home. Oh, I'm in the spirit.
Merry Christmas, Mr. and Mrs. Turner. Is it time for my Christmas bonus?
Yep, this year you get to leave early.
Bye, Vicky.
Wow, a Vicky snowman!
Vicky's gone! Which means it's time to decorate the house.
With their freshly decorated house, Timmy gets super excited for Christmas. He stops for a second and double checks with his parents, asking if they have to leave tomorrow to go to work or anything like that.
You don't have to work or shop or do anything that would make you bring Vicky back here, right?
Nope. All we have to do tomorrow is be with you, Timmy.
And drink eggnog. I mean, be with you, Noggy.
After Timmy watches the sunrise on Christmas morning, he goes to wake up his mom and his dad, who he finds sleeping with his eggnog. He runs out, tossing his parents out with him as they find an ocean full of presents downstairs, which he is excited to not have to share with anyone. Timmy jumps on down as Wanda turns into a submarine to traverse the ocean of presents. As Timmy enjoys his Christmas haul, we jump right into a song that has been burned into my brain for years.
I wish every day could be Christmas, then I'd get the best gift of all. My parents stay home to say,
We love you, Noggy. Mine!
Wouldn't Christmas each day be the coolest of all? I wish it were Christmas. How I wish it were Christmas. I wish it were Christmas each day.
Naturally, Timmy said the words, I wish, which officially makes this an actual wish, as Cosmo and Wanda reluctantly make it so that it's Christmas every day. Timmy wakes up the next morning just ecstatic that it's Christmas again.
Eggnog.
Merry Christmas! Again! But honey, you have to go to school and we have to go to work.
No, you don't! Look!
On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree.
Well, okay.
The calendar's never lied to me yet.
Timmy drags his parents out to the living room to find yet another ocean full of toys waiting for him. Cosmo and Wanda tell him that that was one really big wish that he made and that there's something they need to tell him, but when he tells them how happy he is, they decide to hold back and just embrace Timmy's happiness, regardless of the outcome.
We hope you enjoyed your second day of Christmas, Timmy.
These have been the best 2 Christmases ever. Wouldn't it be great if we could be together like this all the time?
It sure would, Timmy, but your mother and I have to work. Eggnog doesn't by itself, you know.
No, you don't.
If it kept being Christmas, I just don't know what we'd do.
We'd probably panic. Oh, well, good night.
We see Timmy continuously waking up day by day as it keeps being Christmas again and again, leaving his parents very confused, but Timmy himself very happy until this happens.
Hey, this is a toy puddle. Where's my toy ocean?
Well, you know, Timmy, I'm sure Santa's doing the best he can.
He's never had to make toys for this many Christmases before.
Well, honey, if we're going to have a 4th day of Christmas, I have to get more eggnog. And I'm good with that. Oh, thanks, Lockjaw. All right, Nog!
We fast forward to the 15th day of Christmas, and everyone in town is just burnt out completely. We see Timmy going around town on a sled drawn by Cosmo and Wanda.
It's ho-ho horrible! As Christmas enters its 3rd week, the world screams. Christmas is entering its 3rd week! Because it's still Christmas, the banks are still closed.
We want money
to buy eggnog!
Stores are closed. We want food! And eggnog. Goodbye! And the schools remain closed.
I'm good with this.
Everywhere, adults are doing all that they can to prevent yet another visit from Santa.
Even the military is doing everything they can to prevent the coming of Santa Claus. We see them set up a decoy chimney with cookies and milk next to it. Then Santa flies up in his sleigh as the military attacks. Santa makes a hasty escape, and we see Chet You Betcha cursing whoever made it Christmas every day, saying that he wants them ripped limb from limb.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah, he's cute when he's angry.
That may be true, but I think the world has had enough Christmas for 1 year. I wish it wasn't Christmas anymore.
We can't do that, Timmy. We don't have enough power.
What do you mean?
Timmy gets ripped away by all the holiday mascots as they surround him pissed. They explain how angry they are about the fact that since it's Christmas every day, they can't bring joy to all the other children of the world on holidays ever again.
Who are you brightly colored freaks?
I'm the Easter Bunny. That's Baby New Year. Ooh, Cupid from Valentine's Day.
Sometimes love hurts.
And please give it up for the comedy stylings of the April Fool.
Pull my finger. I perish!
And that's Halloweeny Dog.
That's not the spirit of Halloween.
All right, he's my dog. I just hate to travel without him.
They threaten Timmy, telling him that he better unwish the wish or he's gonna get an Easter egg where the sun don't shine.
There's nothing we can do. We don't have enough magic left.
What?
Oh, Timmy, there's something you didn't know when you made your wish. Giving gifts to everyone in the world takes a lot of magic. So every Christmas Eve, all us fairies in Fairy World get together and transfer most of our magic to the one man on Earth that needs it the most, Santa Claus!
Wanda explains that the magic comes back to them once Christmas is over, but now that Christmas never ends, they're basically powerless. Timmy explains that all he wanted to do was get more time with his parents, and now everyone is so sick of Christmas that they want to get rid of Santa.
He's right. As long as Santa's around, this could happen again.
Right. All we need to do is banish Santa to the imaginary day of February 33rd and get rid of him for good. But to do that, we'll need a little magic. Yeah, and you two are a little magic.
I'll be here all week. I'll be here all week.
Okay, let's get hopping.
Santa's in trouble, and it's all my fault. I've gotta get to the North Pole.
Timmy goes home to look for stuff to help him get to the North Pole. He goes through his toys, and unfortunately, he comes up short.
Darn it! I've looked under this high-speed snowmobile, portable power generator, all this survival gear, a detailed map from our house to the North Pole, so simple that even a 10-year-old child could read, and I can't find the eggnog anywhere!
Timmy says that this is a dangerous trip, and just in case he doesn't make it, he needs a backup plan. We see him take a laptop and post online that Santa is in big trouble and that he's gonna have to save him, and that he needs everyone to help him. We see Timmy making his way to the North Pole, and he makes it to Montana, where he ends up running out of gas.
Timmy's log. Stardate Christmas. Feels like I've been gone for weeks. And at this speed, I'll be there in no time. Welcome to Butte, the gas capital of Montana. Got your message on the internet, Timmy Turner. Think it's mighty fine what you're doing for Santa. Merry Christmas! Or as we say in Montana, you're standing in cow manure. Awesome!
Timmy continues on his merry way, stopping in Quebec, where we see some French-Canadian kids give him some food. He then crosses the ocean and makes it to Greenland, then promptly has his snowmobile eaten by a massive shark. We then see all of the holiday creatures arriving in Greenland as well.
Greenland! It's not green, and there's no land! What's up with that? Just one country away from getting rid of Santa for good!
Yeah! And then we'll be able to create our own super holiday. Hal New Easter Wienentine Day.
Hal New Easter Wienentine Day?
I didn't think you'd remember!
We then see the van approach a hitchhiker who happens to be Timmy in disguise. He asks if they're the group going to find Santa. He plays it off saying that he wants to destroy Santa too, claiming that he's a holiday as well, calling himself Birthday Boy. We cut over to the North Pole where the elves are on strike outside.
These toys stink! I'm running out of creative ideas!
Chris, you're working yourself to death.
I don't care, honey! As long as it's Christmas and I've got the magic, I have to give the children what they've wished for!
Timmy sneaks to the top of the van and he tells Cosmo and Wanda that they need to distract the holidays while Timmy makes a break for the North Pole.
But we don't have any magic.
But you do have those.
Hey, these tires were flattened with 2 fairy godparent crowns. Who could have done that? And where's your diaper?
This diaper may be stinky, but it sure is fast. I'm traveling at the speed of sound.
Timmy crashes into the North Pole and tells Santa that they've got to get him out of there. While they're mid-conversation, the other holiday mascots arrive to attack. A massive fight breaks out.
Hey! They're using us like sponges to absorb the magic from Santa!
I find no joy in this! Losing holiday spirit!
Santa loses pretty much all of his magic. The holiday mascots use Cosmo and Wanda, freshly soaked with magic, to enlarge the Easter Bunny. The evil bunny pulls out a massive egg bomb and gets ready to end Santa once and for all.
No! Leave him alone! It's not his fault! I'll never let you hurt Santa!
How you gonna stop us, huh? He's just one little kid.
Now he ain't. He's just the kid who got here first. Wow! It's every web-enabled kid in the world!
All of the kids approach the holiday mascots, and they say that they can't fight kids because they exist to bring joy to the kids. The holiday mascots then have a heart-to-heart with the kids.
We wanted Santa gone so we could bring our own holiday-specific joy to children.
So they'd love us too. That's what's up with that.
But we do love you guys.
Really?
What's up with that?
Hey.
Just, not as much. I mean, Santa brings us toys and Christmas brings our families together.
Birthday boy's got a point. All I do is leave eggs that go bad if you don't find them.
The holiday mascots apologize to Santa, telling him that they were being stupid and jealous, and the Easter Bunny gives Santa his magic back. Santa says that he has no time to forgive them because he has to prepare for Christmas tomorrow so he can bring the kids what they wished for. This gives Timmy a really good idea. He tells all the kids that instead of wishing for toys, they need to write Santa letters wishing for it to be the day after Christmas. With all the letters being written and the kids having wished, we jump right back into another song.
It's great that tomorrow ain't Christmas. In Dimmsdale and London and Rome. If I had just one wish, I think it'd be this. I really just wanna go home now. I really just wish I were home.
Timmy poofs away, leaving all the other kids there. He surprises his parents, telling them that Christmas is finally over. We see Chet You Betcha on the news announcing the end of Christmas as everyone breathes a sigh of relief.
And furthermore, under no circumstances is any fairy allowed to grant an I wish it was Christmas every day wish ever again.
Wow! They've added a new rule. You really gotta mess up big time to make that happen.
We're proud of you, Timmy.
Thanks, guys.
Now all we have to do is make amends to Santa for making him work so hard.
How do we do that?
We cut to a year later where we see Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, and all the other holiday mascots delivering presents for Santa, who's just lounging back on the beach with Mrs. Claus, which is where the episode ends. This one is honestly just as good as I remember it being. There is so much to love about this episode. Much like SpongeBob, the early Fairly OddParents was just fantastic. The first few seasons were really good, and then the quality kind of seemed to decline over time. This episode is definitely a favorite of mine. There's a few questions that I had along the way though. In the beginning, we saw Timmy wrapping presents for Vicky, which she just threw on the fire, but when Timmy's parents got home, they immediately decorated their house and put up all their decorations. This just kind of confused me a little bit because it's literally the night before Christmas. Like, most families decorate early, some people even have their tree up in time for Thanksgiving, but oddly enough, Timmy's family literally didn't put up any decorations until the night before Christmas. I don't know, that was just a weird observation. I also couldn't help but notice that when Timmy wished it was Christmas every day, he wakes his parents up the next morning to tell them it was Christmas again, and they responded by telling him that they need to go to work and that he needs to go to school. Again, this didn't really make much sense to me. Like, yeah, his parents definitely need to work, I'm sure, but I would expect Timmy to be on holiday break from school at this point. I'm not sure if it's like this everywhere, but my school always had holiday break growing up when we would usually have a week or two off of school around the holidays. It struck me as odd that Timmy would have to go to school literally the day after Christmas. Also, like, I can't help but wonder, how does making it Christmas every day affect the calendar? We literally saw Timmy's dad ripping the days off the calendar and they just kept coming up as December 25th. It was weird because, like, they're not exactly pausing time or making the same exact day repeat over and over or anything like that. Time is still passing and each day ends up panning out differently. It's just that the day stays December 25th. So, like, in a technical sense, after this day, the entire timeline and calendar of the Fairly OddParents is about 15 days off from the actual calendar, which just makes me curious if there's any ramifications in the grand scheme of things. Kind of an odd concept, to be honest. Just saying though, how sad is it that all of this happened primarily because Timmy just wanted more time with his parents? This poor kid spends so much time away from his parents and with Vicky that he wished it could be the one day of the year that he's guaranteed to get time with them. Let alone considering the fact that Timmy has fairy godparents in the first place. Like, his life is so miserable that he was assigned magical beings just to make him happy. It's a mind-blowing concept, but also really sad when you think about it. On a more lighter note though, it is funny how the April Fool was basically a parody of Jerry Seinfeld. As a kid, I absolutely couldn't stand Seinfeld. I just thought it was like that annoying show that my parents watched and I just didn't get it. But I started watching it a few years ago and I definitely found some enjoyment for the show. Watching this back as an adult and realizing that the April Fool is a parody just sparks so much joy for me. I love it. Another thing I just have to point out though is that point where we see Santa fighting the other holiday mascots. Literally, he's blasting magic at them and they're using Cosmo and Wanda as sponges to soak up all the magic. Now, bear in mind, all of the fairies in Fairy World transferred all of their magic to Santa, this making him what I would assume is the strongest magical force in the universe. When Santa blasted all of his magic at Cosmo and Wanda, it transferred it to them, making them the strongest magical forces in the universe. Now, I truly don't understand why, in that exact moment, Timmy didn't just wish that it wasn't Christmas every day anymore. Cosmo and Wanda had their magic back, and he very well could have done just that, but for whatever reason, he didn't. Like, he went through the whole process of the holiday mascots apologizing and giving the magic back to Santa, then making all these kids write letters that Mrs. Claus had to read and make into wishes, basically when Timmy could have just cut out the middleman and used the actual fairies to fix the problem. Granted, it would have made for a little bit less of an entertaining story, but like, it would have worked, so there's that. Another thing I just kind of thought about off the cuff here is the fact that, like, throughout the whole time when Cosmo and Wanda were without magic, like, they were still doing magical things. Like, when it was actual Christmas, we saw Wanda turn into a submarine and we see them turning into dogs pulling Timmy around on a sled, but they are without magic, so it doesn't really make sense how they would be able to transform even though they don't have magic. I don't know, just one of those little plot holes I happen to notice. But regardless of any of that, this is still a great episode. I'm happily going to give it a 9 out of 10. It was entertaining, and honestly, I really liked what they did in making the mascots for the other holidays. It was pretty cool, and this episode was good, all things considered. Next up, we're going to check out a classic that I'm so excited to watch because I haven't seen this episode in years. That's going to be the Rugrats episode, The Santa Experience. This episode begins with Tommy and Chucky in line to meet Santa, as Chucky tells Tommy all about Christmas.
Then, the grown-ups start acting real nice and smiling all the time. And that's not the worstest part. One night, he comes. Who comes? The scariest guy in the world. Santa Claus. Chucky, you can't be scared of Santa. He's big and fat and jolly and gives you presents.
We see Angelica rush past the line and push people down to go meet Santa. He asks what she wants for Christmas, and this happens.
Why don't you tell Santa what you want for Christmas?
I want a luxurious hair Cynthia doll.
Of course you do. And if you're a good little girl,
A Teenage Nuclear Fusion Squad video game.
Well...
A Rocco Mr. X exploding makeup doll, a Beverly Hills Cynthia lunchbox, a pony, and a 9/11 emergency surgical kit with working stethoscope.
Yes, that's an awful lot of presents.
I'm not finished yet!
Santa tries to explain how that's a lot of toys and that he's not exactly sure that he'll be able to swing that many toys, but then Angelica starts to question him.
I don't know if Santa...
Hold on. If you're really Santa, how come you don't know this stuff already?
Well,
Hey, wait a minute. You're not the real Santa Claus. You're a phony!
Hey!
Oh, Santa Claus is a fake! Run for your lives!
We then cut to Angelica at Tommy's house while she's opening presents. Phil and Lil ask where she got all the toys, noting that they thought Santa only brings toys at Christmas, and Angelica explains that you just gotta know how to work him. Meanwhile, this is happening.
Stu, can you imagine how upset Angelica must be finding out that department store Santa was a fake?
She doesn't look that upset to me.
Yeah, the manager gave her practically every toy in the store. Do you think toys can compensate for what she's been through? Oh, she may be traumatized for life.
Hey, this is a bunch of junk! They didn't give me any of the stuff I wanted!
We cut over to all the adults in the kitchen talking about Christmas. Chaz talks about how he's had nothing but terrible Christmases. When he was a kid, his best Christmas gift was a rubber glove and a tongue dispenser. Meanwhile, Drew is worried about being able to reaffirm Angelica's belief in Santa. Betty suggests that they go above and beyond with Christmas this year by renting a cabin in the mountain and having a true white Christmas.
What a great idea. We can chop down our own tree and sing carols and open our presents up there on Christmas morning.
I'll call the travel agent and get a cabin.
I'll go buy some lights and ornaments.
I'll drink a couple of quarts of eggnog and fall asleep in front of the TV.
Angelica's going through all the toys that she got, just complaining about all of it. Meanwhile, Tommy and Chucky are in the playpen. Chucky's trying to convince Tommy of how evil Santa is.
I'm telling you, Tommy, that Santa's a bad guy. He's always watching you, keeping track of everything you do. And then, in the middle of the night, he breaks into your house with a big bag full of who knows what.
But Chucky, he's got presents in that bag.
Oh, sure, that's what he wants you to think.
Meanwhile, Angelica walks past Phil, who just looks sad. He explains that he's struggling with figuring out what to get Lil for Christmas. Angelica decides to use this to her advantage. She says that Phil could get her something for her coloring book, like some crayons, as she pulls a box of crayons out of the box of toys that she has. She tells Phil that she will only trade the crayons for his favorite Reptar doll. Phil, very sadly, decides to trade away the doll for the crayons. Angelica then, naturally, makes the decision to go off the deep end and really milk this for what it's worth as she catches sight of Lil. We get a glimpse of Dee Dee struggling to secure a cabin and Drew and Chaz outside mourning the fact that Christmas is ruined for their kids. Then they get the idea to have someone dress up as Santa and come down the chimney so the kids can get a glimpse of St. Nick, which will restore their faith in Santa. Just then, we cut back to Angelica as she approaches Lil. She asks Lil if she's trying to figure out what to get Phil for Christmas. Lil says yes and explains her struggles with figuring out the best gift. Angelica ends up slyly convincing Lil to trade her coloring book for a helmet for Phil's Reptar doll.
What a great trick, Cynthia. Phil's gonna get a Reptar space helmet for Christmas, but he doesn't have his Reptar doll. And Lil's gonna get crayons, but she doesn't have her coloring book. I'm bad, Cynthia. Real bad. He's bad, Tommy. Real bad.
I keep telling you, Chucky, he's nice.
Tommy ends up trying to convince Chucky that Santa is nice. Chucky says that he wishes he could catch Santa so that he could prove to Tommy that he's evil, which gives Tommy the idea to literally do just that. He plans to actually catch Santa so that they can ask if he's good or bad. Just then, we see Grandpa Lou come up to tell the kids all about Santa.
You see, Santa may be old, but he's as sharp as a toothpick. And if you've been bad, you don't get that special doll you wanted or that fine-looking electric train. Instead, you get a great, big, ugly lump of coal. Of course, none of this applies to any of you sprats. You've all been good as gold.
Dee Dee ends up walking into the living room excitedly to tell everyone that she's secured a cabin for them to stay in, and everyone gets super hyped about it. We move forward to see Drew putting Angelica to bed.
Is it true that if you're a bad little kid, Santa Claus will give you a lump of coal instead of presents?
Sure is, Pumpkin. Sweet dreams, Princess.
I don't care what they say, Cynthia. That guy Santa can't possibly know that trick I played on Phil and Lil. Can he? Can he? course not. What a great trick I played. Dumb old Santa.
Angelica falls asleep, and we see her wake up on Christmas morning. She runs downstairs and goes to open presents as she gets nothing but box after box of coal.
It can't be! It just can't be! Santa's just a smelly old guy in red pajamas. There's just no way he could have known!
Oh, but I do. I know everything. Phil got a new Reptar doll. Lil got a new coloring book. And what did you get?
Drew comes in to check on Angelica, who wakes up screaming. She says that she has to find Phil and Lil, and Drew explains to her that she will end up seeing them later. We cut over to later that day. Everyone rides together in the same van to the cabin. They walk in and take in the sights of this beautiful cabin in the woods. Angelica approaches Phil and Lil, and they're clearly scared of her. She offers to do them a favor, but before she can talk to them about it, their mom comes up to take them to cut down a Christmas tree. We see Tommy and Chucky talking, and they decide to go through the house to find places to set up Santa traps.
Doggy door, check. Dining room windows, check. Chimney. Chimney? You're right. No one in their right mind would try to come down a chimney.
Angelica asks her mom if she can go and chop down the tree with Dee Dee and everyone else, and her mom says yes. Meanwhile, Stu comes up saying how nice it is that Charlotte finally got some time off to hang out with the family.
Well, it is Christmas after all, the season of love and joy.
I don't care, Jonathan. We got to crush the competition, and we got to crush them now.
Angelica, Phil, Lil, Dee Dee, Betty, and Spike go out to pick a Christmas tree. Dee Dee ends up just being really picky about the tree, but after a while, she ends up finding the right one.
That's it! It's exactly the right size, the perfect shape. Isn't it cute?
Good choice, Dee. Now, stand back.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna chop it down.
Oh, no, you don't! Not this tree!
It all started when the first present was given by the Pilgrims a long, long time ago. After that, everybody started giving presents. Even the Easter Bunny started giving them until Santa slapped him with a lawsuit. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is...
We cut back over to the house, where we see everyone setting up a fake tree that came from a box. Angelica keeps trying to get time to talk to Phil and Lil, but she never gets any time to talk to them without their parents around. Dee Dee ends up calling everyone for their Christmas feast, and everyone gathers around the table for dinner. At dinner, the kids end up getting sleepy, and the adults decide that it's time to put them to bed, which makes Angelica worried that she won't get the opportunity to right the wrongs that she did.
Chucky must stay awake. Must... Chucky! What is it? Is Santa here? No, you almost went to sleep. Oh, Toby, I'm awake. Oh no, Chucky, fell asleep. Chucky! I guess it's up to me. Maybe I'll just make myself comfy while I wait.
Tommy ends up falling asleep too, and we cut out to all the adults singing Christmas carols while Chaz sneaks off on his own. We see him putting on a Santa outfit. Meanwhile, Drew is calling a company called the Santa Experience to confirm a reservation for Santa performance that evening. Meanwhile, Angelica's sitting by herself by the TV, just mourning the fact that she probably won't be able to get presents because she's on the naughty list.
The holidays can be a depressing time of the year.
You said it.
Don't let this very special time of year become a nightmare for you. Call 1-800-555-YULE and talk to someone who cares.
555-5555.
Cogs Unlimited.
May I speak to Santa Claus, please?
Huh?
I need to talk to Santa right away. Let me talk to Santa!
All right. This is Santa Claus. How can I help you?
Oh, hi, Santa. It's me, Angelica.
Oh, yes. Hello, Angelica.
I just wanted to find out if I'm on the good list or the bad list this year.
Let me check with one of my elves. Oh, yes, Angelica, you're on the... Oh, yes, you're on the bad list. Thanks for calling.
This brings Angelica down even more, as you'd expect it would. Meanwhile, we cut on over to Chaz, who's climbing up the chimney. We then see Stu open up the door and get stopped up by one of the Santa traps that Tommy and Chucky set. Having woken up to the sound of him falling, all the kids run into the living room and they're relieved when they come upon Stu.
Wow, it was only your dad, Tommy. Boy, for a minute there, I was getting really scared. I thought it was Santa. I'm glad it was only... Ah, it's him! What are we gonna do, Tommy? What are we gonna do?
Don't stay away!
Chaz comes out of the fireplace and calms Chucky down and gives him a big old hug.
That's not Santa. That's just Chucky's dad.
There is no Santa. I'm saved!
Santa!
Little problem with the chimney, hmm?
Oh, Santa! Won't you come in?
Merry Christmas, Tommy, Phil, Lil. Aren't you guys up past your bedtime? Merry Christmas, Chucky. Still think I'm so scary?
Angelica ends up opening up her gift and seeing exactly what she wanted, and she's super surprised. Santa explains to her that sometimes wanting to be good is just as good as actually being good. Everyone starts opening all their gifts, and Phil and Lil end up opening their presents from each other.
Did you trade Angelica your Reptar doll just to give me these crayons?
And you traded your coloring book to get my Reptar space helmet. Thanks.
Merry Christmas!
My Reptar doll!
My coloring book!
Thanks, Angelica!
Hell, baby germs!
Chucky tells Tommy that he was right, and Santa isn't actually all that bad. Meanwhile, the phone rings and Drew answers it.
Mr. Pickles, this is Barney Stevenson, the Santa Experience. I'm calling from my car phone. You see, my car skidded off the road, and I'm not going to be able to make it tonight to do the Santa thing. Can we reschedule? Mr. Pickles?
What do you mean you can't make it?
I hate Christmas.
Who is that?
Drew starts to explain that the guy he hired to play Santa can't make it, but then him and Chaz realize what just happened, as they question who that guy was that dropped off all the presents just now.
I wonder if there's a car in the attached garage. Angelica, is that a lump of coal?
Now, this episode is just so amazing to me. It has that old school nostalgic Rugrats feeling, and it hits just right. This episode is iconic for the simple fact that I'm pretty sure it's the first ever Rugrats Christmas special. Also, it's the first time that we get to meet Charlotte, and it was a good point for them to really nail home some of the character tropes that we would see follow Charlotte through the rest of the series. In this episode, Charlotte is always on the phone and handling some sort of business. This would continue throughout the rest of the entire series and would remain a constant in Charlotte's character development. I really appreciated a lot of the things about this episode. One thing I really love about the original Rugrats episode is the art style of the Reptar dolls that the kids play with. The green one is iconic, of course, but I'm really a sucker for the purple Reptar doll that unfortunately wasn't seen in this episode, but I love it, so I feel the need to bring it up anyways. I mean, look at this thing. It's cool as hell. I also gotta say, it was interesting to see Angelica actually be nice for once. Throughout the first few seasons of Rugrats, they really nail home how much of a jerk Angelica is, but seeing her be nice in this episode really just hit different. Seeing her hug Phil and Lil after she gives them their presents just warms my heart. That's a constant in a lot of these episodes. We saw Squidward being nice to SpongeBob in the SpongeBob Christmas special, and in this one we saw Angelica being nice to Phil and Lil for once. It's a nice change of pace from our normal expectations. I also loved the look of Chaz in that Santa costume in this episode. It fits him well, oddly enough. Santa is pretty much the exact opposite of Chaz in almost every way, but in some kind of bizarro way, this actually works. Overall, this episode was completely amazing. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. It checked all the boxes for a great episode, and I really enjoyed it. It kept my attention, and it definitely brought that jolly warm Christmas feeling. Next up on this holly jolly holiday extravaganza is a show that I've been dying to talk about that I promise you we are definitely going to be diving deeper into in the near future. We're looking at none other than Danny Phantom with the Christmas special, The Fright Before Christmas. The beginning scene of this Christmas special takes place at the Amity Park Mall.
Merry Christmas! Happy holidays! Happy Hanukkah! Merry Christmas, Mikey.
You are being cheery? It's a trap! It's a trap!
What's with him?
What's with you? Ah, perk up, Danny. I know you're in your annual holiday funk, but this is the one time of year Sam isn't instantly dour.
Have a kickin' Kwanzaa!
And the one time of year I can bust out the Foley mistletoe beret. Hey there, miss. How's about spreading a little Christmas cheer? You had liver for lunch.
We see Danny getting overwhelmed by people that get too close to him as he yells about how he hates the holidays. Sam doesn't get it, saying that she doesn't even celebrate the holidays and even she loves this time of year. That's when Tucker points out that she clearly isn't aware of the fight.
Santa Claus is a ho-ho hoax.
Heretic! Santa's real as real could be. Don't listen to her, kids. Santa's coming tonight in his sleigh full of goodies. Keep the ho-ho hope alive!
Flying at that altitude in the open at that speed? You'd pass out or burn to a crisp from friction. It's scientifically impossible!
If you need me, I'll be in the ghost zone, getting rid of some frustration.
In the Ghost Zone, we see a ghost poet finishing his first Christmas poem and putting it in a book called The Fright Before Christmas. Meanwhile, Danny is in his ghost form, just destroying a bunch of Christmas-themed trinkets that he bought at the mall.
Oops! Sorry, man. It was a total accident.
Oops. Oops! Do you have any idea what you've done?
Well, not really. Hence the accident part.
You've destroyed my greatest work! And that was my only copy!
The Fright Before Christmas? I destroyed a Christmas poem? Awesome!
Danny explains to the ghost poet that he came to the Ghost Zone to get away from Christmas. Like a total Scrooge, he says that he didn't mean to destroy the poet's book, but he's okay with the fact that he did. We see the poet rise up into the sky and take his ultimate form.
And you are...
The Ghost Writer! Every word I type on this keyboard becomes real. And since you destroyed my Christmas poem, you shall become my new Christmas poem! On the day before Christmas, in Amity Park, almost all there were cheery, yet one soul was dark.
Danny realizes that he's been teleported into the Ghost Rider's story as he face palms at the idea, but goes along with it just so he can get out at the end of the story.
You would be quite surprised what I can and can't do, but I'll leave you your freedom so I can teach you. When you lash out at others, there's enmity earned. You're stuck in this poem till your lesson is learned.
Who you talking to, Danny?
Said Tucker, confused.
Some annoying ghost writer. We're all being used.
Sam asks Tucker if Danny has always been such a Scrooge, and Tucker says that he has been as long as he can remember. He tells the story of when Danny was just a baby and his parents were too busy fighting about whether or not Santa really exists. So busy that they failed to realize that their own baby needed their help. Then we fast forward a few years later where they were too busy fighting and as a result, dinner was completely ruined. Then we cut back to current times, in the story being told by the Ghost Writer. Danny's parents are on stage near Santa, fighting about whether he's actually real or not.
And just because this would annoy him the most, I decided to make every reindeer a ghost. On Spooky, on Spectre, on Deathhoof, on Thrasher, on Maimer and Vicious, Blood Antlers and Slasher.
I'm going ghost!
Came his signature cry, and into the fray Danny Phantom did fly.
We see Danny flying into action and attempting to catch the ghost reindeer. The ghost reindeer end up escaping as they leave Danny in a pile of rubble to be blamed for all of the destruction. We cut over to Danny's house where we see this happening.
But Danny's grim Yuletide was only beginning. And later that night, as his patience was thinning. See, a fat man can fit down the chimney. Here's proof.
That still won't explain how he gets on the roof.
And young Fenton sat there, just steaming and fuming, his blood pressure rising, his anger consuming.
I won't keep this up,
Danny said to the writer.
There's no poem if I'm silent.
Now, let me tell you something.
Can't you make Dad not fight her?
With his parents fighting in the background, Danny finally gets fed up and he storms out of the house, telling his parents off a bit in the process. While Danny runs off and goes ghost to blow off some steam, his sister sees him in front of the house and she says that she can't blame him for being upset.
What got into him?
He takes after his mother.
Can't blame you for losing your cool, little brother. Go ahead, clear your head, and I think you'll be fine. But taking our presents is crossing the line!
Now you're ripping off gifts? What is that supposed to do?
A, make a huge scene, and B, blame it on you.
You've ruined our night.
Drink some anti-ghost tonic.
Wait, I ruined their night? How's that for ironic?
Danny flies off, just flustered by the whole situation. He does some thinking and gets the idea that if he seeks refuge in a non-Christmas household, then maybe the curse will go away, considering that the curse specifically ruins Christmas.
Sam!
Danny said.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I know! Can't you see we're all under a cloud? Every present we had, in the chimney, up through it. That might work for you, but that's not how we do it.
And Sam saw sad faces on Mom, Dad, and Granny. So I typed on my keyboard that the blame was on Danny.
You did this?
Are you out of your mind?
You're the holiday Scrooge. Do you think that I'm blind?
While Danny and Sam are arguing, the Ghost Rider makes all the toys in town come to life and sends them all on a mission of destruction with their sights set on Danny. All of the toys converge and merge together to become a giant monster nutcracker. Danny attempts to fight the nutcracker, but ends up being completely crushed by the beast. It seems like no matter how many beams of ghostly energy Danny throws at the monster, it just doesn't stop, until he hits it with one final gnarly blow.
Nothing to add?
Danny asked, then the answer showed up in the form of Sam Tucker and Lancer. And Jazz standing silent, her eyes filled with tears, mourning the bear she had loved all these years. And Tucker and Sam felt that crushing blow too.
Danny, don't.
What's your deal?
I don't even know you.
It seemed the whole town had come out to proclaim that Christmas was ruined, the ghost boy to blame.
The Ghost Rider intends to have everyone turned against Danny, so he turns all the Christmas trees into ghostly monsters that attack the whole town. Danny's parents turn on their ghost barrier around the house, which turns it into a safe haven from all the ghostly attacks around town.
Anybody seen Danny?
Like I even care.
What's wrong with you, Jasmine? Your brother's out there. Hold down the fort, Jack. I'll go after our tot. Those trees will not stop me.
Oh man, that is hot.
While his mom chops through all the hordes of Christmas trees trying to find him, Danny ends up surrounded by nearly every tree in town attacking him. He hears her shouting, telling him to scream if he can hear her, which gives him the idea to hit the trees with his ghostly wail. At the mere sound of his shout, all of the trees turn to kindling. Danny uses so much of his power that he turns back into a human as his mom finds him and takes him back home. After a while, Danny goes into the ghost zone, dead set on finding the Ghost Rider, who, keep in mind, is still in control of everything happening. Danny goes to where the Ghost Rider lives and blasts his way into his house, only to find all of his ghostly foes assembled.
We've been waiting for you.
Skulker said with a grin.
Now our holiday party can finally begin!
Eat, drink, and be merry.
Have some warm Christmas goose.
For surely you know of our annual truce.
The truce? It's still holding? I thought they'd suspend it. To beat on their foe.
Oh, this truce, we defend it. We don't fight on Christmas.
One day of tranquility.
Come sundown tomorrow,
we resume our hostility.
Danny is confused by this. He asks about the truce, and they explain that every ghost is sworn not to fight on Christmas. When Danny tells them that the Ghost Rider broke the truce, they all decide to go and kick his butt. The Ghost Rider panics as Danny and all the other ghosts show up.
The truce they enjoyed, it was fun while it lasted. Then Youngblood got pummeled. Then Ember got blasted. They battled each other with all weapons handy. A frame date by 10 of my half-brother Randy? A clock and a candlestick, those I won't miss. I wonder what else.
I know. How about this?
Young Danny thought quickly and picked up an orange. He threw it at Walker, who Ah, crud! Nothing rhymes with orange!
Being caught up by the fact that nothing rhymes with the word orange is just enough of a creative block to break the spell on everyone, as Danny finally defeats the Ghost Rider and destroys his cool circle computer setup.
No! Danny screamed.
I'm still talking in rhyme!
I would have forewarned you if given the time. There are 2 ways to finish this poem, just 2. I tap out the end, but I can't, thanks to you. So now you'll guide this story of the ghost who hates Christmas. Think you can do it, all mopey and listless? You think this ends here? You're about to get burned. This story's not done till the lesson is learned.
The Ghost Rider is taken away by the ghost police, and Danny flies off sadly. He walks around town, taking in the sights of how Christmas was ruined. Tucker ends up seeing him, and he dials Sam on the phone as the 2 of them go to find Danny and talk to him. As Danny's coming to realize that he's the cause of all the issues tonight because he was picking a fight out of holiday spite, all of the crushed gift boxes start floating and making their way back to their respective homes.
The gifts, they're not damaged?
They're flying through the air. Back where they came from? But who would...
Beware! The box ghost shall conquer this holiday doom!
We just couldn't leave you to suffer in gloom.
Tomorrow you'll see what this baby can do. But all ghosts share the truce. Even half ghosts, like you.
We see all of the ghosts working together to restore Christmas for the human realm. They fix all the presents, restore all of the dead trees, and bring Christmas joy back to every house in town. Danny and his friends are awestruck at the fact that all of his foes helped him save Christmas. The only one they couldn't save was Danny's house because of the ghost shield, which leaves Danny to save his own Christmas for his family.
I know I've been kind of a jerk this whole night, so I snuck out and found this. It's all of your favorites. And here, Mom, for you.
Favorites.
And Jazz?
Hey, it's Bearbird. He's safe and he's sound. Gee, thanks, little brother. I knew you'd come around.
Oh, Danny, you're smiling. That matters the most. We're all here together, not fighting some
ghost!
Ironically, we see Jack trying to shoot down the sleigh full of ghosts while his wife tries to stop him, telling him that he's shooting down Santa. By the end of the episode, Danny's learned a valuable lesson.
I was so busy whining, I started abusing the ones I loved most and I ruined their cheer. I'll try to be better come Christmas next year.
Nice sentiment, but what are you, a greeting card?
Yeah, why are you talking in rhyme?
Such a dork.
We're not talking in rhyme.
We're not talking in rhyme!
Orange? Ah! Get that thing away from me!
This one is an interesting one to dissect and look back on. Danny Phantom is a show that I know I've seen every episode of, but I definitely haven't seen every episode multiple times. Whereas with Hey Arnold, the first few seasons of SpongeBob, and the initial run of Rugrats, I've seen every episode multiple times and can remember them to some extent. Due to the fact that I probably only saw this episode once when I was in like 5th grade, I completely forgot about it. I literally don't even remember there being a Danny Phantom Christmas special, but lo and behold, here we are. Overall, it was a pretty good episode. I really enjoy this show in general. Personally, I'm a big fan of all things paranormal and spooky, so Danny Phantom was naturally right up my alley when I first saw it. It takes a creepy concept like the afterlife and the paranormal and puts kind of a lighthearted spin on it. However, this episode made me feel a little mixed. It was kind of gloomy for the most part. Like, the whole episode was about Danny being a complete downer and how he hates the holidays. He completely ruined everyone's Christmas in the process, even the Ghost Riders. It was kind of sad. Danny has pretty much never had a good Christmas because his parents just can't get over their petty squabbles. Gloomy as it was though, this special wasn't bad per se. I honestly really loved the rhyming scheme throughout the entire episode. Not gonna lie, I heavily contemplated writing this entire portion of my script in a similar rhyming scheme, but the task seemed to be a little too daunting. I'm creative, but not that level of creative. Like, I had an idea in my head of what I'd want it to sound like, but knowing me, it'd probably just turn out cringe as hell and nothing like what I'd want it to. I thought it was a clever idea though. One thing I do need to point out is, what's up with the ghost police? Like, this is the afterlife. We're talking about ghosts, but somehow there are laws, police to enforce them, and literal ghost prison? Like, that's just kind of weird. Ghosts can usually fly through walls and stuff, but apparently not the ghostly walls of a ghost prison? I don't know, I just thought the whole concept was a little strange. It made for a good episode though. All things considered, I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. I liked it, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of redeeming qualities, but the gloominess of it was kind of a bit of a downer. Next up, we're gonna look at yet another great cartoon from the early to mid 2000s that I've wanted to touch on for a while now. Of course, we're jumping right into the My Life as a Teenage Robot Christmas special, A Robot for All Seasons. This episode starts out with a bunch of kids watching a robot fly through their houses while it drops off Christmas presents as it violently blasts through their walls.
Around the world in 80 seconds. Not bad, Santa.
Thanks, Mom. I mean...
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, Jenny, I'm so grateful. After my mysterious accident, I thought I'd have to cancel Christmas. But thanks to you, all the presents were delivered in record time.
After all the presents have been delivered, Santa tells the group that they're all invited to his Christmas feast. We cut over to a festive scene of them all sitting at the table.
We're spending Christmas with Santa, we've never felt so gay. There's no better way to celebrate this holly jolly day. The air all smells like Christmas pudding and fresh baked Christmas bread. And my brain's about to burst with sugar plums in my head. Like a plague of festive vermin, elves are everywhere you look. In the air, on the sea, in every blessed little nook. Watch Santa when the turkey's carved, he'll eat half and pass the rest. Don't step between his plate and him, that's if you know what's best.
After the feast is done, Jenny and her mom thank Santa, and they're on their way out of the North Pole. Jenny asks her friends what they're gonna do with their day after Christmas, and Brad says that he was thinking about going to the mall to take advantage of the day after Christmas sales. Jenny's mom says that she did such a good job, and as a reward, she could take their credit card and go shopping. Quicker than she can even say yes, Jenny is gone, flying all of her friends to the mall. They all stand there together, talking about what they want to shop for, and Tuck says that he's going to the toy store first.
All right, this is it. I'm going in.
Well, there goes Tuck's college money.
Wow, what a mob. It's survival of the craziest.
What's the use? I never get what I want for Christmas, so why should the day after be any different?
Oh, the poor tyke. He should have gotten something from Santa last night. I could have sworn I followed the nice list to the letter. But maybe I moved too quickly and missed a worthy child.
Tuck gets thrown out of the toy store, and Jenny gives him a direct lift to the toy store while knocking everyone out of the way in the process. That sad kid we saw ends up enamored with the way that Jenny helped Tuck get to the toy store, and Jenny ends up coming up to him asking if he saw anything that he wants.
Now remember, this is only temporary.
Kid, what are you doing? Jenny's not a toy.
Come on, Brad. If Santa did skip Todd Sweeney's house this year, the least I can do is give him one day to play with a giant robot action figure.
Well, Jenny knows what she's doing, Brad. I trust her judgment implicitly.
A limo? I didn't figure you for a rich kid, Todd.
Money can't buy happiness. It's cliched, but true.
Well, you're living frowning proof of that.
We cut on over to Todd's house, and we see him with Jenny as he puts a device on her head as he says that she's now his slave and she must do his bidding. Jenny takes it for a joke and plays along, pretending to be a robot slave. They walk through Todd's house as Jenny comes past a room full of toys.
Todd, I thought you said you never get any presents.
I said I never get what I want. On every holiday, I'm showered with gifts, but I never get the most important gift of all.
Love?
No. Weapons.
What?
But it no longer matters. For now, I possess the ultimate weapon, you.
Todd uses his device to zap Jenny unconscious. Jenny ends up rebooting and she wakes up strapped to a table. She bursts free and ends up escaping the house through the chimney, just like Santa does. Todd sees her leave and he doesn't fret for even a second, while he ominously says that she'll be back. We see Jenny fly off and she crashes into a Christmas tree.
Hey everybody, what's with all the gifts the day after Christmas? Well, happy holidays to you too. Hi, Mr. Mailman. I guess he's still stressed from the holiday rush. Hey, Tommy, how's the snow shoveling biz? That bad, huh? Hey, Tuck, did you buy that sled at the sale today? What the heck is wrong?
As she's confused by Tuck's behavior, Jenny gets hit by a snowball, and she ends up finding that Brad is the culprit. Him and a bunch of the other people start pummeling her with snowballs in an attempt to make her short circuit. Jenny escapes at the last second, and she flies her way over to her house to find her mother.
XJ9! What a surprise to see you! Well, why don't you have a seat over there and tell me what happened?
Well, parts of it are still a bit fuzzy.
Yes. You just tell Mama all about it. Skyway Patrol, this is Mama Bird. Baby Bird is in the nest.
First Tuck, then Brad, and now my own mother!
The bird has left the roost. Implement Plan B.
Jenny ends up being confronted by a gigantic jet, firing rockets at her and telling her that she's under arrest. Jenny is just confused as she fights off the rockets, saying that she didn't do anything. She goes on the run from numerous jets, dogs, cops, and tanks. She hides, narrowly avoiding being caught by the police when this happens.
That was close.
I'll say.
Sheldon? Sheldon! Wait, you're not scared of me?
Of course not, Jenny.
Oh, Sheldon! It's so good to see a friendly face.
I can't believe what I'm saying, but we don't have time for this.
Sheldon, what's going on? I'm gone for a few hours, and now everyone's out to get me.
A few hours? What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean?
Tell me something, Jenny. How do you feel when I show you these?
Easter eggs?
That's right. Simple, harmless Easter eggs. Don't you want to crush them?
No.
Sheldon realizes that Jenny doesn't remember a thing. As far as she knows, she just went to Todd's house that morning. However, Sheldon explains that actually happened a year ago. He tells Jenny that she got into Todd's limousine and she never came home.
Then on New Year's Eve, you returned.
4, 3, 2...
We didn't see you again until Groundhog Day. Every major holiday you return. To destroy it!
Jenny says that she doesn't remember any of that, and that the last thing she remembered was getting zapped in the head by Todd. Jenny goes to tell everyone the truth, but Sheldon stops her, saying that she's public enemy number 1. She gets the idea to go to the one person who can expose the truth, as she goes straight to Todd's house. She asks him why he wants to ruin every holiday.
I remember my last real Christmas like it was yesterday. That year, Santa Claus gave my parents a luxury cruise to Bermuda. I was left alone. My parents never returned. They retired. They said they'd never been happier. That day, I vowed that if I could feel no holiday joy, then neither would anyone else. So far, we've wrecked every holiday except for the fattest one of all. But tonight, we will destroy Christmas forever.
We see Todd press a button, revealing the device that he uses to control Jenny. We then cut right on over to Brad and Tuck at Jenny's mom's house, saying that they need her help if they're gonna save Santa from Jenny. The three hop into a plane as they prepare to fight Jenny and save Santa. Sheldon tries to stop them, but they don't believe a word that he says. We cut back on over to Jenny as Todd turns into a ship and they fly to the North Pole together to take Santa out.
Quiet. Not a creature is stirring. Old Man Kringle must be losing his edge.
Sugar plum fairies, fire! Choking hazards, attack! Baking battalion, flambe! Cavalry, charge!
Seemingly in a trance, Jenny calmly and plainly walks towards the North Pole, being attacked by elves along the way, all the meanwhile fighting off their attacks.
Thank goodness we have elf insurance!
Jenny finally makes it to Santa's office. The two break out into an intense battle, and they seem to be a relatively equal match for each other, even in hand-to-hand combat. Just when Jenny gets the upper hand, Santa tells her that she won't get away with this. Todd then reveals himself.
Behold, Santa, gaze upon the true face of the boy who destroyed Christmas.
Why, you're the Sweeney boy. You always receive plenty of toys. Why do you want to ruin Christmas?
Toys? Pfft! Your materialism sickens me, Claus. I never got what I wanted, and now no one will.
I've got a Christmas present for you. A long overdue spanking.
Jenny explains that Sheldon disabled the device that Todd used to take over Jenny, and that she was just going along until he confessed to what he had done in front of Santa. Santa happily takes Jenny's name off the naughty list and replaces it with Todd's name. Unfortunately, in the process of the battle, all of the toys got destroyed, but Jenny gets an idea to solve the toy shortage and teach Todd a lesson about Christmas spirit.
Christmas to my junior co-pilot. My first piece of antimatter.
I don't understand. It's as if they get more joy from giving gifts than from receiving them.
Why don't you try it out?
Merry Christmas!
We then unexpectedly see Todd's parents return, telling him that they missed him. Todd says that he thought they were tired, and they correct the record, saying that they were tired and they needed a longer vacation. Everything ends on a happy note as we see Jenny giving Sheldon a special present.
This is for the one person who never lost faith in me. Mwah.
We're spending Christmas with Jenny, and we've never felt so gay.
There's no better way to celebrate this holly jolly day. The air all smells like Christmas pudding and fresh baked Christmas bread. And my brain's about to burst with sugar plums in my head.
This episode was fantastic. My Life as a Teenage Robot is another one of those shows that, like Danny Phantom, I know I've seen every episode, but probably give or take only one time each, so I don't remember every episode as well as I do other shows. I remember this episode vaguely, and I remember enjoying it when I was a kid. There was a lot of really cool aspects to this one. I liked the way that they portrayed Jenny as being unconscious just for a little while and breaking out of Todd's house, when in all reality, she was out for an entire year and doesn't remember a thing. Also, the way literally the entire city is out to destroy her, it really had a dystopian feel to it, and it made for a really interesting perception of reality for this episode. It almost had like a Twilight Zone kind of feel to it. I do find it odd that when Jenny came back and was acting normal, nobody thought for a second to question her about it. They all just went right into destroy mode. Like, all they've known for the last year is her being a machine dead set on destroying holidays. She probably hasn't spoken a word to any of them in this entire year that she's been gone. Plus, they all know that she was last seen going to Todd Sweeney's limo, so like, it probably would have been easy to put two and two together and realize that he pretty much enslaved her. Like, in all reality, Jenny's mom probably could have just gone to the cops after she didn't come home that night and had them help with literal theft of her robot, but that's beside the point, I guess. I feel like everyone should have seen Jenny talking to them and realized that something was different than it had been over that last entire year. I will admit though, if it had gone that way, it probably would have resulted in a lot more of a boring episode, so that is what it is, I guess. I gotta say though, I found it hilarious how Jenny went to her mom's house after she finally came back, and we got a peek of her mom planning XJ-10, presumably the next robot in the XJ series. Then, when Jenny shows up and walks into the house, she hides her blueprints, as to not offend Jenny, I assume. That was a clever gag, and I appreciated it. One thing that's truly kind of messed up though is Todd's parents. Like, they literally left for vacation when Todd was a straight up baby or toddler and didn't come back for years, all because they were tired and needed a longer vacation. Like, down to its core, that's truly messed up. As a parent, I can't imagine ever doing that to my kids. Just think about how much of his growth and his life that they'd missed in general. All because they were vacationing in Bermuda? Not gonna lie, I feel bad for Todd. No wonder he was miserable and hated the holidays. All he wanted was to spend time with his parents, who were just absent from his life. It was just sad, and I kind of can't blame Todd for the way he behaved, as messed up as it was. I also gotta say too, I found it weird how Santa ends up removing Jenny's name from the naughty list and replacing it with Todd's name. Like, Santa can see everything, he knows everything that's happening, so by default, Todd probably should be on the naughty list either way, but I guess that's neither here nor there. All things considered though, this was a really good episode. I dig the dystopian feel to it, and there was also kind of a sense of mystery to this episode as well. We're gonna give it a 9 out of 10. As we wind down and approach the final episode of this DVD, I just want to say, if you're still watching this far into the video, thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate you, and you get bonus props. I appreciate everyone who watches my videos, even if it's just for a few minutes, but you all who make it this far into the video are the true, real fans. Do me a solid, and if you made it this far, leave me a comment telling me your favorite personal Christmas memory. I'll look out for your comments, and I'll do my best to thank you personally, because I really value you for watching this far into the video. You're the literal best, and I hope you know that. Now, the final episode we're gonna check out is the ChalkZone Christmas special, When Santas Collide. This episode starts out at Rudy's house, with his father fretting over the fact that his Santa costume that he ordered isn't there yet. Meanwhile, we see Rudy under the tree, shaking boxes and snooping. His mom asks him if he's looking for a special present, which we learn that he definitely is. Specifically speaking, he's hoping to get a special set of very expensive artist pens.
Expensive is right. You won't find those pens under that tree, that's for sure.
I won't?
Oh, I can't believe this!
Oh, neither can I.
Oh, it will hardly seem like Christmas Eve.
Unless I get my Santa suit!
Your Santa suit? Who cares about your Santa suit, Dad?
Rudy gets super negative, and he says that he thinks this holiday season is a bunch of baloney and that he doesn't care if Santa comes to visit them or not. His parents send him up to his room, telling him not to come down until he finds some Christmas spirit. We see Penny show up, carrying a bunch of gifts, including a box that she found under the hedges outside.
Oh my gosh! Is it? It is! Yes, Santa comes soon. I gotta go try this costume on.
Where's Rudy, Mrs. Tabooty?
You mean Scroogey? I sent him upstairs for an attitude adjustment.
Penny runs upstairs to find Rudy, who's in ChalkZone, enjoying the start of the ChalkZone holiday season. Snap explains that this is the time of the year when zoners from all over ChalkZone meet up to celebrate together before they go their own way and celebrate their own individual traditions.
This is amazing!
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a happy road once to die.
What did they say?
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a happy road once to die.
This is great!
We see everyone from all different walks of life celebrating all sorts of holidays together in peace. The three friends end up laughing together, and Rudy says that he wishes all their holidays in the real world were this fun. Penny tries to tell them that they need to get back to Rudy's house for the holiday meal, but Rudy doesn't want to go.
Rudy, you can't just skip out on your family's traditional meal.
Pardon us, but this only happens once a year.
So does this! And Santa is coming to visit.
Well, this has 8 Santas.
8 Santas?
Sure, it's the annual Santa launch. As you know, kids draw a lot of Santas into ChalkZone.
So what's your route gonna be? Well, they got me going to the equator. Yeah, a lot of traffic over there. You better watch. Yeah, but I got the new sled, so...
Snap explains that the Society of Elves is in charge of keeping things in order so that Santas don't chaotically fly all over ChalkZone with no sense of direction. Meanwhile, back at Rudy's house, this is happening.
Millie, get up here quick!
What is it, Joe?
The Holidays Company made a terrible mistake.
Oh, Joe.
What's all the shouting about?
Oh, don't look at me. I don't want anyone to see me like this.
Listen, Joe,
I was just about to take Sophie down to Toy Mania to sit on Santa's lap. Why don't you come
Yes! There's still hope! Maybe I can still find a Santa suit somewhere! I'll take off my cottontail and be right with you!
Back in ChalkZone, the elves are preparing for Santa to take off. The general, whose name is Elphys, explains that none of the Santas know what route they're going to be on until they're in the air and the plans are sent to them, basically via GPS. The Santas take off and they put on quite the spectacle of a show as they fly through the air and nearly hit the radio tower and each other. Just when the elves prepare to send these Santas their routes, this happens.
See, Penny? Our real-world holidays are nothing compared to this!
New Year's Day, this is Santa 6. I'm having a problem. Ho, ho, holy moly! I've lost control of my sleigh!
Elphys is distraught by the massive accident and destruction. Snap, Penny, and Rudy promise that Rudy will fix everything because he has the chalk. They all go down to the ground zero of the massive sleigh accident as a bunch of clowns arrive on scene in a tiny ambulance to try to save the Santas.
Hold it!
Owie!
Sorry. Okay, the first thing we have to do is rescue all the Santas and tend to their injuries. You, clowns, lift that sleigh and pull out Santa number 5. Penny, start bandaging Santa number 3. Snap, untangle those reindeer.
Aye, aye, bucko!
You got it, Rudy. Santas, listen up. We're gonna get you out of there.
We cut over to the real world where we see Rudy's dad on the hunt for a Santa suit.
Excuse me, sir, but I couldn't help noticing your outfit, and
I told you guys I would pay for it at the end of the day! Will you stop hounding me?
Whoa, hold on there. I just want to...
How many times do I have to tell you? This is my corner. Now make like a reindeer and fly!
Back off, belly boy!
Oh, I'm making a list!
Yeah, well, I'm checking it twice!
Back in ChalkZone, Rudy is drawing casts on all of the hurt Santas, trying to heal them timely so that they can deliver all the presents. They all claim that Rudy ruined Chalk Christmas as they prepare to give up, but Rudy tells them that they can't lose hope. He pep talks everyone and says that they have to work together to make it happen.
That's the spirit! We must never give up on Christmas!
I give up. That's all there is to it. I'm giving up.
Oh, no, Joe.
I couldn't find a you-know-who outfit anywheres, Millie. And after what Sophie saw tonight, I'm afraid she'll never believe in Santa Claus.
Well, then she and Rudy will make the perfect team.
Is he still up there brooding? Well, that's enough of that.
We see Rudy finishing up the new sleighs and preparing the Santas for takeoff. When the time comes for them to take flight, we take roll call and realize that Santa number 8 is missing, as they find him frozen solid inside of a snowman. Given the fact that Santa number 8 had one of the biggest areas to cover, they end up looking for a new Santa number 8.
I'll take over for Santa 8. Come on, let's get Chalk Christmas on the road.
Are you sure you can do this, Rudy to Booty?
Somebody has to, but I could use an elf as an assistant.
All right, man. I hereby appoint you a member of the Society of Elves so that you may accompany Santa Rudy on his rounds.
Yeah, man!
They all take off together. Penny tries to remind Rudy of his family's Christmas dinner, but he flies off, paying her no mind, as she runs back to the portal to the real world.
Now, come on, son. I'm not playing games. Either you open this door on the count of 3 or I'm coming in. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hi, Mr. Tabuti. Rudy is hard at work on a extra special holiday surprise.
A surprise?
Yes, come on, let's, sing the 12 Days of Christmas.
Rudy and Snap fly over the wait and see and drop presents into the sea. Then they fly over a big city and toss presents to the houses that basically sort themselves conveniently. Next, they end up in Greedy Tree Land, delivering presents as they're being held captive by the greedy trees. After the last present is delivered, the trees end up letting them go, and Elvis comes on the video to tell Rudy that he did a fantastic job, but now he has another Christmas to save.
Rudy! Get down here this instant!
Ho, ho, here I come!
That's right, Sophie. Santa come at last. That was the special surprise I was telling you about.
Just in the Saint nick of time.
Now this is the real Santa, Sophie. See? He's got a bag of gifts for each person around the Tabooty family table. Great work, son. You've started a new family tradition.
Rudy walks around the house and gives out presents to everyone, and he even ends up pulling the expensive pens that he wanted out of the bag, too. The episode ends with the family breaking out in song as we see everyone in the real world and ChalkZone getting along and enjoying their Christmas together. This episode kind of hit different from every other episode that we've seen so far. I'm not gonna lie, I've always been mixed on ChalkZone, even when I was a kid. It's a show that I never really went out of my way to watch because I just wasn't the biggest fan of the voice acting or the art style. I always was just biased towards the show based on that. However, when I did end up watching it as a kid, I always ended up enjoying it inevitably. It's not a bad show by any means, I was just kind of a picky kid when it came to cartoons. This episode, though, was just great. It had a really positive message behind it, and the ending came with a really nice, warm, and fuzzy feeling that I appreciated. I gotta say, seeing all the citizens of ChalkZone together, celebrating as one, was just really nice. World peace may seem impossible in the real world, but seeing everyone in ChalkZone existing peacefully, regardless of any beliefs or holidays, was just very heartwarming. Everyone was respecting each other and just genuinely enjoying being in good company, which to me is what the holidays are all about, regardless of which holiday you celebrate. I gotta say though, I can't reflect on this episode and not bring up my boy Elvis. He's literally the greatest pun character probably of all time. He's an elf, based off of Elvis Presley, of course, and he's the leader of elves because why wouldn't he be? I just found this to be so punny that it hurts. I love a good pun, and this is some top shelf pun play at work here. Moving on to the grim, I can't skip over the massive sleigh accident. Rudy straight up caused all of the Santas to collide mid-flight. They straight up plummeted to the ground and were damn near killed. It was actually pretty gnarly. Like, if that was real life and it was actual planes crashing, straight up nobody would have survived. It's kind of crazy that they portrayed that on such a large scale on a children's cartoon, but hey, it's ChalkZone, so Not like it was real people or even the real Santa, it's all just drawings. The concept of ChalkZone overall is just crazy to me. I always wondered, and I'm not sure if they ever explained this in the show, but like, how fast does time move in ChalkZone? Like, is it a 1-to-1 ratio, or is every minute in ChalkZone like 10 seconds in the real world? Anytime I watch a show where we're dealing with multiple planes of existence, I can't help but contemplate how difference in the passing of time comes into play, but that's just my inner world building talking. The last thing I've got to touch on is Penny, Rudy's best friend. She is an absolute champion, possibly the best friend of all time. Like, Rudy pretty much did her dirty. She was just looking out for him, trying to get him back to the real world so that he doesn't get in trouble, so no one comes into his room and finds him missing, or even worse, they find the chalk portal that he drew to get there. But no, Rudy just had to be a jerk and ignore her. Regardless of that though, Penny still went to the real world to keep everyone busy until Rudy got back. She could have just said, screw you, and let him dig himself out of the hole when his dad goes up to the room and find him missing, but no, she's not like that. She's a true friend and covered his tracks long enough for him to make it back, and that's one of the biggest reasons why she is the absolute GOAT. The friendship between Rudy and Penny is definitely one that feels unconditional to me, and that makes me happy that Penny is portrayed as such a good person. She's a great character, and I appreciate the role that she played in this episode. All things considered, this was another great episode, and you know what? I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It sparked pretty big joy for me, and that ending just has me all sorts of happy. But that's going to be it for this DVD. All in all, I'd say it was a really good one, especially considering the time frame of which this was released. This is what I'd consider to be the phase of Nickelodeon where things were kind of going downhill, but honestly this DVD still hit really hard. They had a healthy mix of classic Nicktoons and episodes that were new at the time, and I definitely appreciate that mix. But what do you think? Did you enjoy the episodes on this DVD? Were any of the ones that we talked about your favorite Christmas special? Let me know in the comments down below. I always appreciate seeing your guys' feedback. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like and give praise to the YouTube algorithm in hopes that it pushes this video to everyone else. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.